He walked all the way round it. He tapped on it. He smelt it. He listened to it. And he said to the court instrument maker, "This is the tree we want. From the trunk you can make me some lovely drums. And the branches, which are so long and straight, you can make me some flutes from them. Just think, for the court orchestra, new flutes and new drums." "Yes, sir," said the court instrument maker. "I'll set about it immediately." And he cut down the tree and took it away, and with all his workmen did exactly what the court musician had asked. From the trunk he made beautiful drums, and from the long straight branches he made flutes to blow and play beautiful tunes. The next great banquet that was held in the palace was to be the first time the new instruments were heard.
This is Wizard Grandpa's Stories.
Sorry. I was just having a little doze. How nice to see you. Welcome to Wizard Grandpa's Stories. So, today, I would like to tell you the story of the Rajah who had big ears. Now, once upon a time, there was a Rajah, and he was the ruler of a great kingdom, and he had a huge palace and many servants. But he had a secret, too. He had very big ears. Now, when I say he had big ears, he had enormous ears. He had the hugest ears you have ever seen or not seen. His ears were gigantic. And he was very shy and embarrassed about his ears. So he wore a hood at all times, and even managed to put his crown over the hood. And the hood covered his enormous ears. Now, because he was the Rajah, everyone in the kingdom had to copy him. And so everyone also wore a hood. And they wore it all year round, which is what the Rajah did. And it was a very hot country. So you can imagine the people were not very happy to wear a hood all year round, just because their king did. Well, there was one person in the kingdom who knew the Rajah's secret. And that was his barber, whose name was Manji. Manji cut the Rajah's hair once a week. He trimmed it carefully and kept it very tidy. And he was the only person who had ever seen that the Rajah had enormous ears. Well, the Rajah had told him many years ago that if he would tell anyone about his ears, he would chop off his head. So Manji had to pretend that the Rajah's ears were perfectly normal sized, and he never told anyone about them. Now, unfortunately, Manji was a chatterbox. He loved to talk and to tell secrets to other people, but this was a secret he could not share, on pain of his life. But still, he felt he had to say it. So one day he went out into the forest, and he saw a tree, a big tree. And in that tree there was a hole, quite a big hole. It was big enough for him to put his head inside. So Manji put his head inside the hole in the tree and said, "The Rajah has got enormous ears." And then he pulled his head out again. Oh, Manji felt much better for having told his secret, even if it was only to a tree. And so he went home, feeling peaceful and calm. Now, a few days later, the court musician took the court instrument maker on a walk into the forest. And the court musician said to the court instrument maker, "I need you to make some new instruments for me. If we can find the right tree, I think you can make me some very fine instruments, don't you?" And the court instrument maker said, "Oh, yes, sir, yes, of course." So they looked at this tree and tapped on this one and tapped on that one, until finally the court musician found a tree which he liked. He walked all the way around it. He tapped on it. He smelt it. He listened to it. And he said to the court instrument maker, "This is the tree we want. From the trunk you can make me some lovely drums. And the branches, which are so long and straight, you can make me some flutes from them. Just think, for the court orchestra, new flutes and new drums." "Yes, sir," said the court instrument maker. "I'll set about it immediately." And he cut down the tree and took it away, and with all his workmen did exactly what the court musician had asked. From the trunk he made beautiful drums, and from the long straight branches he made flutes to blow and play beautiful tunes. The next great banquet that was held in the palace was to be the first time the new instruments were heard. The Rajah called all the lords of the kingdom together, and the great feast began. And then it was time for the music. The Rajah called everyone's attention, and the court musician began to conduct the orchestra. And the flutes played, and the drums played, and together they made a very strange sound, because from the flutes there came the following words: "The Rajah has got enormous ears. The Rajah has got enormous ears." And from the great drums there came, "The Rajah has got enormous ears. The Rajah has got enormous ears." And together the drums and the flutes sang that song: "The Rajah has got enormous ears. The Rajah has got enormous ears." Well, everybody was shocked, but no one was more shocked than the Rajah. Only one person knew his secret, and he called his barber, Manji, to come to him immediately. Manji ran up to the Rajah. "Yes, Your Highness, what is it?" "Who did you tell my secret to, Manji? You were the only one that knew about my ears." "Well, Your Majesty, I couldn't keep the secret, and I told it to a tree in the forest." "You did what?" said the Rajah. "I told it to a tree in the forest." And then he called the court musician and the court instrument maker, and he said to them, "Where did you get those instruments?" "Oh, Your Highness, we had them made from a beautiful tree in the forest. It was one with a big hole in it." "Yes," said Manji, "that was the tree." Well, the Rajah felt an enormous temper about to explode inside him, but then he thought, well, what does it matter? And he took off his crown, and he pulled back his hood, and everyone could see he did indeed have enormous ears. But nobody laughed. Everyone had the greatest respect for the Rajah, for he was a good leader, a kind man. And the Rajah said, "You can now see, everyone, I do have enormous ears." The music was correct. "But no longer will I hide them, and no longer will I wear a hood." Well, everyone was really pleased to hear that, so they all pulled down their hoods. It had been very hot inside. And the Rajah forgave Manji, and he allowed the musical instruments to carry on playing, and they had a great and wonderful evening of food and music and entertainment. And because everyone loved the Rajah, no one ever made fun of him, but they accepted him exactly as he was. And that is the story of the Rajah who had enormous ears. I hope you like that story. I particularly like it. Now, don't forget to come back again soon and like, subscribe, and share. And bring all your friends with you when you come back to Wizard Grandpa's Stories. Well, I must be on my way now. It's a long way home. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is the tree, or what's left of it. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear, "The Rajah has got enormous ears." Bye-bye, my friend. Bye-bye. La 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 la.